Today we are at the Sierra Buttes trailhead along the PCT, and I'm going to walk about a 10-mile out and back section from this trailhead to Tamarack Lakes and stay there for the night. And we're going to take a little side trip up to the Sierra Buttes lookout. And by little side trip, it's a pretty intense hike up there, and there's a big metal staircase that has like 178 steps. I've never been out this way, I've only read about it, so I'm pretty excited. This is all new territory for me. So right out of the gate, right from the car, this trail just heads up through a series of switchbacks, and they aren't terribly difficult. It's just a lot of up, and that's always the hardest part for me. I think largely because I have such bad ankles. I know for a lot of people the downhill is the tough part because of like knee issues or what have you. But for me, it's the up. And so far, this hasn't been wildly difficult. It's just kind of a nice, gentle up with a lot of switchbacks. So by now, some of you may be asking, where's Kiki? Where's your dog? Well, she stayed home this trip. Doing the pre-trip research, I learned that this section of trail is pretty dry. And being such a short trip, midweek, just a quick out and back, I didn't want to be burdened by carrying water for two. And when you're hiking with the dog, you have to really put their needs first. So I need to know that the terrain is safe for her, that there's enough water, that there's enough camping options in case she gets tired before we get to the planned destination. And I didn't have all that information. So for her safety, she stayed home. And depending on what we see on this trip, maybe she'll come next time. Behind me are the Sierra Buttes. just saw the first humans I've seen on this whole hike. Some PCT section hikers doing about a 40-mile section over the last few days. They told me my next water source is about 3/4 of a mile. So water is definitely scarce on this section. They're few and far between, but I was glad to hear there's some coming up. I have enough left that I'm not worried about it, but it'll be nice to be able to load up. So I found the little spring those hikers were talking about. Gonna have my first pack off stop of the day. Get some good calories in me, re-up on all my water. This is beautiful. This is a really, really gorgeous section of trail. Highly recommend coming out here if you get the chance. So a little bit of an embarrassing confessional, but I'm hoping the information might help someone else who might be having a similar issue. All day I've had one of the buckles from my pack kind of digging in just above my shoulder blade, and it's never done that before, so I couldn't figure it out. And sitting here now eating lunch, I noticed that my load lifting straps at the top were pulled all the way tight, and so I think what happened was I had failed to loosen those up, and then when I put my pack on and cranked them down a little bit more, it pulled the whole harness suspension system up and was pushing that buckle into my back. And now that I've made that adjustment, everything's perfect and comfortable again. So I feel like a lot of times when you're having troubles on the trail with equipment, it's user error, and you just kind of have to make sure you're using your equipment the right way. So I've made it to the junction for the Sierra Buttes Trail, which goes up to the fire lookout. And now I just have to decide if that's something I want to do today or save it for tomorrow on the way out. It's about 1.5 miles up and then 170 something stairs, and then of course the 1.5 miles back. A little after noon. Feeling pretty strong. I feel good. It's been a lot of up today, but nothing miserable or wildly difficult. It's just been a lot of it. So I think the plan is I'm going to sit here in this shady spot for a little while, drink some water, eat some more food, and then decide if I'm going to go up to the lookout today or tomorrow. Alright, so I'm going to stash my pack down in some trees here. Grabbed a little bit of water and some snacks, and we're going to go check out this fire lookout. Stairs are quite a bit steeper than I imagined. Something I'm not sure I've talked about on the channel before is my fear of heights. And this lookout tower is very, very high. The stairs were nerve-wracking, but I did it. I'm here. I'm overcoming that fear. And I gotta tell you, it feels pretty good. Alright. I'm down from the lookout. I'm really proud of myself. That is something that I normally would have talked myself out of doing once I saw it. And the views were 100% worth getting up there. It was beautiful. I'm happy I did it. I'm happy to be done with it. Going to get back down this fire road as fast as I can, get back to my backpack, and head on to Tamarack Lakes. Made it back to my backpack. Everything's safe and sound just like I left it. And I've got about 3 miles to go till I get to Tamarack Lakes and set up camp. I've made it to the lake, found a pretty good campsite. There are some other campers here, which is surprising considering I haven't seen anyone else on the trail. But I'm thinking there must be another way in here. But that's cool, I can share. Camp all set up, getting ready to make some dinner. Pretty excited about that. I usually buy the outdoor herbivore meals, and I'm sure you've seen those in a couple of different videos. They've changed their packaging, and I'm really excited about it. It's boil and bag finally, so I don't have to cook in my jet boil pot. I can just boil water and pour it into the pouch. So my first time trying it out, my first time using the boil and bag method for outdoor herbivore, and I'm pretty stoked. So in order to get a boost of protein with my meal, I am cold soaking these vegan beef strips, and I will throw those in with the boiling water when I make my pasta. So because of the elevation I'm at, it took 15 minutes instead of the 10 that's advertised on the package, but everything rehydrated and looks delicious. I'm gonna eat one. I gotta say, the boil and bag option is so much better. I am so happy right now. Took less time to cook, and my oatmeal tomorrow won't taste like pesto. So kudos, outdoor herbivore. You've done a good job. Good morning. It's about 6:30. Today's miles should be pretty easy. I've got about 2 miles of uphill, basically leaving the lake back up to the saddle where the junction for the lookout trail is. And the whole rest of the day is all just either flat or downhill. So I'm gonna make some breakfast, break down my tent, and hit the trail. Camp's broken down. I'm ready to head out. I picked up about a half-gallon Ziploc bag full of other people's trash around the campsite. I think in areas like this where it's more accessible, there's a Jeep trail right behind me. You can pretty much drive all the way up, and then you just have to walk to your campsite. But in areas like that where you have more access, you find more trash. Very rarely do I find any significant trash in the backcountry where you have to walk there, you have to kind of earn it. But I'm over the complaining about it. I'm over the being angry about it, and I just cleaned it up. So today I am carrying a not insignificant amount of other people's garbage out, and I feel pretty good about that. So just finished kind of the only significant uphill section for today. And it's all pretty easy hiking from here. I think had I known what I know now about the terrain and water sources, I would have saved the fire lookout for today. I'd have been a little less tired when I got there, and could have gotten to camp a little earlier yesterday. Maybe spent some more time just relaxing and reading my book. But all's well that ends well. It's been a great trip. I really love this area. It's gorgeous out here. So I'm back at the junction of the PCT and the Sierra Buttes Lookout Trail. Seems like a good spot to stop and have a snack and rehydrate. Hiking's been pretty easy this morning. It's a little bit cooler temperatures because I got an earlier start than I did yesterday, so that's nice. Since I left the Tamarack Lakes area, I haven't seen another human being, which is wonderful. Not that I don't like people, but the solitude is pretty fantastic. So I just bumped into a pretty good-sized rattlesnake. I couldn't get him on film. Was moving through the underbrush pretty fast, but looked fat and healthy. Probably living the good life, eating up all the lizards I've seen on the trail. But yeah, a little nerve-wracking. Not my favorite thing to bump into on the trail. So I've made it back to my car safe and sound. All told, I walked a little under 24 miles out and back. Now I know it might seem a little silly to document a trip that short, but my hope is that through sharing my adventures, no matter how long or short, there may be someone out there who will never get to visit these places in person, never get to see these things firsthand. And if through my eyes and through my experience, they can see the beauty and the majesty of these areas and experience just a little of that peace and tranquility that I get when my feet connect with the trail, then I feel like it's worth sharing, no matter how long or short the trip. So thank you so much for following me along, and we will talk again soon.